So thank you so much for everybody to join us today. It's so good to see some familiar faces. It's been a while since we saw each other at the end of October. And just wanted to thank you. I know this is a really busy time of year for everybody to join. So thank you for taking the time to do that. I know there are some people that are joining us a bit later, and there are some of you that have to join or have to leave a bit earlier. So whatever you need to do for your schedule, please feel free to do that. I wanted to start by just giving a high-level overview of what we're going to cover today. So today we're going to do a quick installation update from Susan. Then I'm going to do a brief just overview of the new learning activity guide. And then we're going to have a bit of a discussion about the learning activity guide. Then we're going to just fill you in on some program updates and then talk about a possible date for a next webinar. But to start, I thought we could just quickly go around and introduce or reintroduce one another so everybody knows who's on the call. So I will start. My name is Christina Johnston, and I'm the Energy Education Program Manager for Green Learning. So as we're going around, you may have to take yourself off mute just for a second. So maybe, Susan, do you want to introduce yourself?
Sure. Hi, everyone. So Susan McCaig from the Alberta Council for Environmental Education. So I'm looking after the, help me to coordinate the installation and looking after teacher professional learning, as well as the evaluation of the program and the Energy Mentor program. So looking forward to working with you.
Perfect. And then we have two Green Learning team members here. So maybe we'll start with Marcus and then you, Jamila.
Hi, everyone. I'm Marcus Ginder. I'm with Green Learning, a project director over here, and I was lucky enough about a year ago to sort of help get this project going, and I'm really looking forward to just sitting in and meeting you in person and seeing how things are going.
Perfect. Thanks.
Hi, everybody. My name is Jamila Chiari, and I'm the Communications Manager for Green Learning. I support all of the work that Christina and the team are doing with regards to communications and marketing. And she has more updates for you further down the line on what we're working on.
Perfect. And so let's get to the teachers. So we'll go around, and if you can just say your name, what school you're from, and what you teach, that would be great. So let's start. Kim is next to me, so let's start with you. Sorry, Kristen.
Oh, that would be me. I'm teaching at the Career and Technology Center, and I teach in CTS, so pre-engineering, but we're also using this in our science classes and in our EEI class.
Perfect. Renee?
And I'm on twice because the computers went in one video, one sound.
No.
Okay, I'm Renee, and I'm teaching grade 5 at Annunciation School in Edmonton.
All right. And how about you, Johnny?
Hi, I'm Johnny. I'm at Westwood Community High School in Fort McMurray, and I teach grades, well, anything from grades 10 through 12, but we have 7 to 12 school here. So a lot of possible.
Perfect. And I think next is Arbor Lake.
Hi, I'm Candace Charbonneau. I teach at Arbor Lake. I teach grade 8 math and science.
Sean Gosling, Arbor Lake, grade 8 math and science as well.
Perfect. Thanks. And Jocelyn?
Can you hear me?
Yep.
Okay, Jocelyn Pelche. I teach in Lethbridge at the Francophone School, and ours is a K-12 school. I am the English teacher, so I'll really just be coordinating for everybody else, all different levels. We can go anywhere from little kids all the way up to grade 12. We'll see what happens.
Perfect. And Brad?
Yeah, I'm Brad. Kenna High School, teach all sorts of sciences from grade 10 through 12.
Perfect. I don't think I missed anybody, did I? Okay, great. All right. So Susan, do you want to give just a quick installation update?
Sure. There is an echo, isn't there? I'll just take my video off. I will say, so with the installations, things are coming along. They are taking a little longer than we thought. If you think you are looking forward to getting the install done, I'm really looking forward to it. We were aiming to get them all done in January. That's what I'll say. If you've got any questions about your specific school and where we're at, if you're not sure, please give me a call or send me an email, and I can give you some specifics on that if you're not sure. But things are coming along. There's a lot of moving parts and pieces, but we're getting there.
Perfect, thank you. And so Brad right now has the installation installed. So he's the one that has it installed right now, just to clarify that. So I know that it is a busy time of year, especially around the holidays and especially for you awesome teachers. And I'm just wondering, just for discussion purposes, did everybody have just a few minutes to look over the new learning activity guide? Just nod or...
Well, I'm just going to be honest and say I forgot. I could come up with a good excuse, but...
No problem. Okay, so I thought what I would do is I'm just going to spend some time to go over the new learning guide. So I'm going to share my screen here, so just bear with me. And just for this portion, I am recording it for those that can't join us today. So I'm going to put you all on mute just because when we're recording, if people have even background noise, and that kind of becomes a predominant thing. So don't be offended. I'll unmute you for the discussion portion, but just for now, I'm just going to put you all on mute. So 1 second. All right. All right. So can everybody see that? Nod your head if you can. Okay, perfect. Thanks. I'm going to move this over here. So this is the new learning guide, and if you are familiar with the learning guide that we saw back in October, it looks totally different. And the reason for that is a few reasons. One, I wanted to give it sort of a fresher look. I wanted it to be more comprehensive, more user-friendly, more focused, and I hope that you guys think that it is, but I won't be offended. That's why we're here. If you have feedback, we really want to hear it. So this is the title page. Then it goes to table of contents. And what I tried to do was put in as many internal hyperlinks as possible so that it didn't seem as daunting to look over a 50-page learning activity guide. So, oh, is that Claudia joining us?
Yes, hi guys.
Hi, Claudia. Do you want to do a brief, just a quick introduction, who you are, what school you're from, and what you teach?
Sure. I'm Claudia Espinosa. I work at Collingwood School in Calgary, and I teach grade 4.
Perfect. So we're just going over the new learning guide. I was just saying I'm just going to put you on mute just for this portion because we are recording it. So don't be offended. I'll put you off mute for the discussion portion.
Sounds good.
Okay. All right. So for the table of contents, like I was saying, I was trying to put as many hyperlinks as possible so that you don't have to scroll endlessly through this long document. So we've got those all hyperlinked. And then there's a page about the learning activities, so it kind of walks you through how it works, tells you how it's broken down, the curriculum connections by icon, and then the fact that it's all clickable. So the main point of discussion that I want to share with you is this list of learning activities. So this is on page 4, and this is sort of the main page of the whole document. And it's almost like a dashboard, if you kind of imagine, on a website. So what I did was there's 24 learning activities in total, and I broke them up into those that require installed energy metering technology, So by that, I mean that it's actually installed. So that's what you guys are getting. If it's circuit meter or eGauge or any other installed energy metering technology. And then there's those learning activities that require the installed or plug-in energy metering technology. And then there's ones that require no technology at all. So to clarify, by plug-in energy metering technology, those are the ones that are more commonly referred to as the watt meters. So if you think back to the workshop at the end of October, those are the ones where you plug it into a socket and then you plug the electrical device in and it gives you the watts or kilowatts of the energy being used. They're just all actually energy metering technology, so we needed a way to decipher between which type of energy metering technology we meant. So then from here, we also can see the grade level that it's suitable for. So again, just to clarify, if we say all, we mean grades 4 to 12. So you can see what grade level it's for. And then I tried to incorporate more curriculum connections. I know that was one thing at the October workshop that I kind of focused it on the science connections because that seemed to be the most popular as far as when you guys did the application. So I tried to broaden that for you. And to clarify, so there are some learning activities that are from that same guide back in October. There are some that are just like updated and given new names, and there are some brand new ones. So it's kind of a mishmash of all of them. So the other thing, if you don't know what the icons mean, so I tried to kind of make it intuitive. The world is social studies, the beaker is science, that kind of thing, but you can always scroll back up here and see what I mean. And so yeah, so it gives you a good overview right away from what you can expect from this guide. And then I also gave them each learning activity in just numbers, just for reference sake, instead of, you can just easily reference it and say learning activity 1 or 2 or that kind of thing. And then I also put them in an order that is sort of what I thought you might use it. So I'm not going to put the first learning activity guide, something that requires energy metering technology that requires 3 months of data. Like I tried to think about ones that would make sense as you go through what would make sense as you're learning about the software and things like that. So then if we take a look at this one, I call take a look. For example, this would be a good one. You just click on it and we'll take it to you. You can go to it. So this one, they investigate both the energy metering hardware and software to get a full understanding of how the technology works and what it does. So again, like this would be a great one when you get the energy metering technology installed, just to get the kids aware of how the two pieces work and what it's doing, and so that they can really get that understanding right off the hop. The other thing that I tried to do with this new learning guide is put background information that I thought would be helpful right in here. So for example, after sort of thinking about the two different components, okay, that's great, we can monitor our energy use, but why? So this is a good one here, this global energy demand. So that's from Canadian Geographic. And I find their videos really good. They're really engaging and factual and just really well done. So that links to there. And then again, we want to bring this learning back home. So to just get them to understand that their own home has a breaker panel and how that works. And so again, I included this little video here that you can use. And this up at the top, it's not going to let me click on it because that's there. Imagine it, it's there, it's wonderful. But again, just having some background information for you there so that it makes it super duper easy for you guys. So with this activity, they look at how the circuits are labeled in the software, go down to the breaker panel and see how the circuits are labeled right on the breaker panel. Just get an awareness of, how it's all working together, and then coming back and hopefully exciting them and thinking like, well, gee, what can we learn from this? What are we going to anticipate seeing, and getting some of those early predictions about what they think they're going to see with the energy metering technology. And then maybe posting those ideas around the classroom, documenting them somewhere. And then as you go back and forth and look at the energy metering technology and look at different graphs, you know, what were those early predictions right? Why weren't they right, or why are they, that sort of thing. So then the cool thing is there with the Energy Revealed logo, you can just click on that and it brings you again back to this dashboard kind of area. So you can just take a quick look. If the learning activity wasn't suitable for you, or you just wanted to take another look, then you could do that. So if we take a look at those requiring installed or plug-in energy metering technology, we can go to small appliance energy reliance. And this was basically what we did at the workshop, where I had the plug-in meter and we had the different appliances. I really like this one because it, again, brings home that home aspect, right? People and kids can be more aware of what they're using at home, so broadening it outside the scope of school. And I also find that this one lends itself well to a lot of different extensions. So it has our green learning energy calculator. We saw that at the workshop as well. And we're going to be fixing that up a bit as well. So if you have any feedback on what you'd like to see, let us know. But this one, yeah, it has a lot of different extension ideas. So for example, investigate what makes some appliances more energy efficient than others. Looking at the EnerGuide and Energy Star. So I know Susan pointed out that's a really great fit for grade 5 science. So something like that. Focusing this on a morning routine. So asking the students how many things require electricity for their morning routine. Again, just bringing that awareness about what themselves or their family members do. And then for senior students, research sources of emission factors. So this is something that I would like to see more of. I did incorporate it in some of the learning activities, but you know, when I say all, I would like to have either right in the learning activity or as an extension, how the different grade levels can use it. So that's something that I would like to work on. And again, these are all draft learning activities. These have all been reviewed by our education advisors, as well as Susan from ACE, as well as Megan Foster from Green Planet Energy Analytics. And Megan did say that one of her comments were that she thought that all of the ones that require installed energy metering technology should be feasible for you guys to do. So you should feel confident that you should be able to use these with your technologies. So so that's good. And then as far as the no technology required pieces, probably not going to get to these before the end of the year, and that's totally understandable. But there are some things here that you could get started on. For example, a community walk, just going to around your community and seeing what the different energy usage is. So again, being aware of not only what the school's energy usage is, but your home and the broader community, total energy versus total cost. So seeing how that energy relates to cost and the impact of that. Make sweet treats with different heats. So this is actually using our solar oven construction plans from our Reenergy. Let's see if I get it. Reenergy here. We have construction plans for solar ovens, and we do a solar oven challenge. So, so build a solar oven and cook something and compare it to the energy of cooking that same thing in a traditional way in a traditional oven. It's kind of fun. A building plan. So looking at the building plan of building a LEED certified building. Pretend that you're a CFO and senior staff that wants to get LEED certification, and what does that entail? Your school is cool, and can you observe how to conserve? So these are both ones using our spiral inquiry method. So it's a more in-depth spiral inquiry approach. And I talked about it briefly at the workshop, but there is information here about it if you want to learn more about what that method is and how to use it. And there we go. So again, try to incorporate useful links for you to get a better idea of it. And these two are really good at really doing cross-curricular activities, and those that really get to hopefully empowering and encouraging kids to become those energy managers. And then lastly, there's the school energy audit and a school infrastructure audit. So those are out of the ones that took the, if you remember the first learning guide, it has sort of 4-step approach. So those are the energy audits from there, and they can work in conjunction with the school electrical appliance audit. So if you click on those, then it references, these are from EcoSpark, and they're decommissioned Wattwise program. And you can see, again, here the link. So if you wanted to get a broader look at, or a full look at doing energy audits, then you could use those 3 succinctly as well. And they come with different handouts and things like that. So the idea here is that you would sort of, it's sort of like a choose your own adventure book. Like I liked those as a kid. So you would just pick and choose which ones that you want to use and try them out and let us know what you think. You guys are the co-creators of this program, so we would really encourage you to, give us that feedback, and we would, of course, give you credit. And as this program grows, everybody would see just how you used it. So that's sort of the overview of that. So I will take you off mute now. I'm going to stop sharing for a second. All right. So, and I think, did I see Vanessa join us?
Yes, hello.
Hi. So Vanessa is from Aurora Charter School. If you just wanted to introduce yourself for a second.
So I'm Vanessa Tran. I'm from Aurora Charter School. I was invited to be part of it as we have one of those circuit meter reading programs in our foods lab, and we also have a set of solar panels on our roof. So we tried to do some cross-curricular between the math and science the last couple of years. That's kind of how we got involved a little bit more with the group.
All right, so we'll open it up to discussion, and even if you haven't had a chance to any so if you again, if those just joining us, if you're not used to Zoom, if you want to put yourself on mute, there's the mute button at the lower left, the microphone, and to start and stop video right beside them. All right. So let's open up the discussion. So I sent out some questions just at a high level. We know that you guys haven't obviously used these, but just want to get your feedback at a high level about the guide. So the first question that we're asking is about the curriculum connections. Are there enough for the curriculum connections for the subject that you or colleagues that you know that are going to be teaching? Does anybody want to start with that?
Yeah, there are some connections with math, which is a good thing, and social studies. I think everybody can adopt all the activities depending on what their subject area is. I think it's quite easy to adapt to what they need.
Okay.
Yeah, and teaching, because I teach grade 5, so obviously electricity is a big unit, so it's going to fit in perfectly for that.
Perfect. And that's what I was thinking. Is there a way to include even just more connections with what we already have? You know, using maybe the learning activities as a starter point, and then if it is an extension, or if it's a built right into the learning activity, that sort of thing. Anybody else? The other thing that I was thinking was that it would be good if, like, I have the icons on that page 4, the sort of dashboard view of the learning activities, but maybe also including them, the icons right where the learning activities are, like within the learning activities, so that you could see where the connections are right away. Would that be helpful?
Yeah.
Yep.
Okay. And again, this is sort of a draft guide, but I will be pulling out exactly what the curriculum connections are, so it's more specific than just saying that it's linked. So look for that. Does anybody else have? Sorry.
I have a suggestion. I don't know if it's possible.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if it would be a good idea, because I was talking with some people from ACE, and I know that they're starting a program where they're kind of making contact with experts.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe if, as part of the booklet, maybe we could add, I don't know, organizations, experts that we could contact, if maybe we can invite them, like, to talk about climate change, or maybe talking about, you know, the different energy sources, things like that. People that, experts that we could invite to our schools. That could be maybe a useful information.
Is that the mentoring program?
So it's tied. It's kind of tied to that. Yeah, it's tied to that. So that's a great suggestion, Claudia.
Perfect. Just on that note of the mentorship program, though, when Susan was reviewing it, because that is a component we will be incorporating, and so there are some points in the learning activity where it says, you know, maybe contact your energy mentor and that sort of thing. So that's built throughout the learning guide as well. That's a great suggestion. Thanks, Claudia.
And just in case anyone's wondering, on the mentor program, I would like to send you some information, and I haven't done that yet because we're really been focused on getting the installation done in the school. And then once that's done, well, I'll turn my attention to the mentor program and contact you to see if your school's interested in what that might look like for your school, and potential energy experts that we might have to connect with you. So just so you know where that's at.
Perfect, thanks. All right, the second question is about the content. Is the content appropriate for the grade you're teaching? And specifically, what changes would you like to see?
Yeah, I think it's appropriate. What I'm going to do, and this kind of answers 1 and 2 for me, I guess. I thought I would, for our 7 to 12 teachers of the school, take the activities and actually put together kind of a table of what outcomes they hit by grade for all Alberta curriculum, but also just specifically for our grade range that we have at the school. So I wouldn't be doing anything for like K to 6, but 7 to 12, for example, I would totally do that for our school, so that our teachers know where they could use it. So that way I can kind of coordinate that better for them.
Perfect. Thanks, John. And yeah, if you're willing to share what you put together, of course, we'd love to see that. So thank you. As you saw when I was going through the sort of overview, I wanted to incorporate again more extensions, or if they're built right in, like how the different grade levels can use it. So again, it's more specific to than just saying all, so you can see at least just again ideas of where it's appropriate for the different grade levels.
I have to sign off now, so. Because it's our Christmas concert night, so I gotta go get ready.
I'll enjoy it.
Thanks
for joining. Happy
Thanks. Bye-bye.
Bye. All right. Does anybody else have any feedback on that? But the content appropriate for the grade level? All right. What about suggestions for other background information that would help you deliver the learning activities? Where are the information gaps? So just on that note, in the learning activity guide, I didn't point it out, but there is not only embedded in the learning activities, but it's the second last section before the glossary, there are just some energy background information things. So just, things of like, what's the difference between a watt and a kilowatt and that sort of thing. So it gives you just some background information as a starter point. But besides that, what other information, just, as you begin to think about things that, even if you're not sure if it's already there, but just what kind of background information could we help you with?
Definitely, that glossary, the definitions, I think they're very important.
Okay.
Especially for elementary, right?
Right.
There are a set of new words. My plan is going to be with the students from the Environment Club. I'm going to try them with those activities with them first, and we're going to decide maybe which activities are going to be appropriate for the other grades. And I'm planning to empower them to go to the classes and teach the little students, the other students. So that's going to be a challenge, trying to help those kids to become the little teachers of the little ones and see how that works. And I'm planning, of course, to send the activities to the teachers if they want to kind of expand information and help them while they are teaching the little ones. So again, vocabulary, definitions, things like that, even pictures will certainly help a lot at the elementary level.
Okay.
Claudia, I'm just curious, what grade is the Environment Club?
We are targeting grade 4s and 5s. So the big kids of the school, basically.
Okay, yeah. So then they'll go and sort of mentor the grades 1, 2, and 3. Okay.
Yeah, and kind of like, my idea is to empower them, right? To feel that they're the leaders of the Environment Club, right? More than the teachers. Of course, I will share with the teachers so they can do other activities and expand the learning a little bit more in the classrooms, but at least kind of give them the tools to go and share with the little ones firsthand.
Great. Is there anybody else that plans to use an Environment Club for this? Okay, because that would be, of course, an interesting perspective to bring as far as the use of these as well. Anybody else have any ideas about background information?
Christina, I wondered if I could ask just a sort of more specific question with relationship to this question. When teachers, when you're looking at a course or materials and you're looking for background information, what's the format that you seek or find the most useful? So we have like a glossary, a printed definition of a term, there's pictures. We've noticed a lot more YouTube videos and infographics. And so I'm curious what you guys reach for as the tool to sort of explain some of this background information, if that's what you do. Or the one you would prefer to reach for when you ask yourself that question. How do I explain, sort of the background information to this activity?
Yeah, and I think on that's a good question. Like, are there methods that are better that might help you, like a glossary, that sort of thing? And then are there ones that maybe are more engaging for students? So are you finding that YouTube videos are more engaging for the students to connect with, to get that sort of maybe initial background information? Is anybody finding one sort of way different or more well received than the other?
Well, I think that like all the digital ones obviously engage the students quicker in our classroom, but I think that they're all really important. I think they need to know how to use a glossary and need to know how to use an infographic. But if they had a choice, they would probably just pick the YouTube video. So I think having a wide range of the different types of background information is important, especially at like a junior high level, because they're heading towards having to use more printed stuff rather than video.
Right. And just on that note, is it does everybody have access to like a smart board and the ability to show YouTube videos and that kind of thing in a classroom? Is there anybody that doesn't? Okay. All right. Thanks. Okay, so the next question is, close your eyes and think about the area in your school that is going to be monitored. Think of all the things that you could do with this. Think about the placements of the sockets of the area being monitored. Think about the possibilities. Are there things that you can think of, other learning activities that could be developed based on that monitored area? Do you have any sort of initial ideas of what you're sort of thinking you might use it for that you haven't seen yet?
So we've been kind of brainstorming a little bit about it, and we think that we're going to do more of a challenge to start it off, to kind of like a kick. So the way our circuit, I think, is going to be set up whenever we get it all installed, is there'll be the grade 8 teams and the grade 9 teams. So like all the classes, the grade 8s and the grade 9s. So we feel like we can use that and the software to sort of start just becoming aware of the electricity that we're using. And we feel like the competition of it will hopefully get them
spark their
involved.
interest.
Yeah, spark their interest.
Perfect. I feel like, Johnny, you've got some initial ideas. Or anybody else?
Good question. I don't know. I mean, it's a pretty thorough set of activities, but just looking at it again here.
So I know some of you are getting like fashion and food labs and that sort of thing. So there is a learning activity called A Touch of Class, which is focused around that. So, looking at those activities, sort of a non-traditional, just a classroom setting. So if you're have one of those areas that are being monitored, that might be a good starting point for you. And then again, the energy audits sort of give a good idea of the whole school energy use as a starting point as well. And yeah, Candace and Tyler at Arbor Lake, I know I've got 2 daughters, and something about this generation loves challenges. So I think that's a great idea to start off with that.
I was wondering, because that seems just like such a great approach, the competitive approach. I was wondering if there's any activities that could be done where schools could compete against each other. A type of activity that might fit where you could compare the results and challenge each other between schools.
So we were just talking about if we're doing a competition between schools. We're going to use ours more because grade 8 doesn't really talk a lot about electricity. So we're going to do more of the math base. And then if we have, like, our school is quite large for middle school, if it's competing against a smaller school, how do we adjust? So making that adjustment for different results from a smaller school to a big school.
Like rates, ratios.
Rates, ratios, and percents, that sort of thing.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I think there's been some.
I can jump in.
Go ahead.
I was going to jump in. I think it's just all a little too hypothetical still, and I think everybody, because like ours is far from being installed still, and then who actually uses those classrooms and all of that is still up in the air, right? So I think I just have to be more hands-on. I have to be in the moment and going through it when it's happening, and it's not happening yet. So I just don't know if we can all see it as a big picture yet as to what the day-to-day is going to be with it. I know I certainly still can't. So That's why I'm just sitting here silently.
For sure. On that note about the different sizes of schools, I think there's been some work done about what energy usages they do it by square footage. So that way, you can say by square foot because, then it's a easier way to, I guess, do it relatively and see, where energy usage is if you can reduce it by that way. So that's something that maybe we could incorporate and adjust. Do you have, on that note though, does anybody have an experience with connecting with other schools on other projects? Like, is that something that any of you have done in the past?
Yeah, we've collaborated with other schools through the Alberta Youth for Leadership in Energy and Environmental Education before.
Okay.
Maybe. Yeah, and that's actually run technically by ACE.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. So that might be, was that well received? Like, is something that the students seem to have liked, Johnny?
Well, it's mostly, a small group of students at each school, but I don't think they work with an entire class. But I have a fair number of students who are part of it this year.
Great. All right, so that might be something that we could do down the line as well, and obviously something that we encourage. We love, having you're all sort of like-minded individuals. So please feel free to connect with each other, and and collaborate however you would like to, because that would be great to see. All right, and just on the guide layout, did you find the guide layout to be user-friendly? Is there something that we can fix to make it easier for you? Just a couple of things on my end that I guess I would like to see is I thought if I just color-coded the different technology levels like throughout, so if it was like, purple for it's just installed energy metering technology, like orange for plug-in or installed energy metering technology, and green, just something that's easier to identify how, what type of energy metering technology, if at all, that you need. And then I do want to create like a student handbook that has, instead of just saying make a checklist or that sort of thing, have those materials ready for you. But anything else that you found about the layout of the guide?
I was just thinking as we kind of flipped through it that, it's hard to have something that goes all the way from 4 to 12. So like in the future, maybe like splitting that by division or by like div 3 and 4, div 1, 2, right? Like just, I feel like it's hard to have something that meets both of those needs, I guess.
Right.
Do you know what I mean? Yeah. Right. So I guess when I look at it, I sort of feel like it looks a little bit more closer to like a, like if I was teaching grade 10 or 11, I feel like it might look a little bit like for younger students. Does that make sense?
So to pull that out a bit more about how.
Yeah, or even just like separate the learning tasks from like the different divisions or 3, 4, and 2.
Right.
Okay. You could modify them to like work anywhere, but just like the look of it, do you know what I mean? Or in the language you use in it, you can use, I don't know, just an idea.
So something that's really just, you teach middle, so that's ready to go for, and all the activities, the language, everything's geared to middle school students. Yeah. Okay. Okay, that's helpful to know. Yeah, thank you for that.
All right. Anybody else?
I like your idea of making that little student handbook, because actually when I was looking at it, I'm like, oh, I wish I had the chart there. I wish I had, the student instructions, right? Like, okay, now you'll do the map, and you give them a little box and they can draw the map, or now you're going to make a YouTube video or PowerPoint. So just have that set of instructions of what to do next, so students can kind of work ahead, or if they're falling behind, they can call the teacher, but it doesn't disrupt the other people from learning. To me, it's a great resource already. I usually take whatever I find and modify it to make it work in my classroom anyways.
Mhm.
So I could take, a Div 2 assignment and make it a Div 3 assignment just by changing the language, adding a few more tasks. So to me, like, I love the idea of you making it for different divisions, but I find sometimes I just do it myself anyways, because it's just an adaptation of what you see and to make it fit your model of your classroom. So.
Right. Perfect. Anybody else? Okay. And how do you anticipate using the guide? Like, again, sort of getting back to the discussion of the different forms of using this. Would you use it more online, like on your smartboard, or would you prefer it to be printer friendly, or a little bit of both? What are you guys using already for other resources that you have?
I think both.
Both.
Yes. Because, I mean, we need to target the different learning abilities, right?
Yeah.
So some kids are more visual, some kids need to have a paper. So I think if we can have a mix, that'll be great. Again, I totally agree. If we can have the booklet set up for the two divisions, just like the sample we received during our meeting before, like the booklet from 4 to 6 or whatever, and then the others. So again, if more pictures can be added, things like that, it will be more user friendly.
So our school has a lot of Chromebooks, and I love all the links embedded in your worksheet. So I just have to click and it brings me to a website to talk to me, more about a learner outcome or just a definition of a word. And all that embedded in there is so great. It's already there. And with the Chromebook and iPad access that our school actually has, I feel like the students can really kind of do their own learning there. So I do like the digital version, but I am a print as well. So having that print copy just for my files in case technology goes, not so well that day, you have your backup. But yeah, I definitely love all the embedded links in the current booklet that you have.
Okay, perfect. Is there more between the different grades? Like, do you find at the high school level you're using more online resources? Like, I could make some of the forms like a fillable form, like a Google form kind of thing. Is that something that sort of changes throughout the different grade levels?
For my kids, we use pretty much all digital resources.
Okay.
And Kristen, your grades 10 to 12?
Yeah.
What about you, Johnny?
Yeah, I primarily use digital resources with the kids too.
Okay.
Is there a possibility of having for these activities like almost like a pre-cognitive activity at the beginning, like something small that they could think about the day before?
Oh, that's a good idea.
Do you have an example, Johnny, like that you're thinking of, just off the top of your head?
Well, I guess there's two ways you could do it, really. You could either have them, I guess, either bring in the glossary and have them do some research of those terms, or have them think of something that they would have seen in the previous grade, or possibly, well, depending on how they learned the previous year's concept in energy, maybe address whatever they didn't learn properly, I guess. Because sometimes they come in with like the wrong wrong learning, and yeah, something like that.
Right. Okay.
Yeah, that's good, because I guess then it gives you an idea too of where the students are at.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
With sort of a baseline knowledge. Okay. Good idea.
And Brad, what about you? Are you using primarily digital resources?
Yeah, most of the time we're using the digital resources. There are a few exceptions where a student will just go to paper copies and things like that. But I would say for the most part, it is digital.
Okay, perfect. And are you guys do you use Google Classroom a lot in your schools? Johnny's nodding.
We aren't currently, but we are slowly trying to break into the Google Classroom system.
Okay.
I pretty much use D2L for my classroom management, like of content and things, and that which is by Brightspace. And we use Google Drives, but we don't have access to Google Classroom.
Okay.
Kristen, would that be a CBE policy, like with the Google Classroom? Okay.
Yeah.
Oh, is it?
Yep.
Yeah, we use Google Drive, basically.
Okay.
Okay.
Perfect. All right. And what other supporter training would you like to see over the next 2 to 3 months to help you use the guides in the classroom? So things like teacher collaboration, webinars, video demonstrations. What could we help you with?
Other than actually getting the technology installed.
That's one. Anything can be helpful right now. We're trying everything, so
I know.
Whatever helps.
If it wasn't for the Christmas holidays, we'd be a little further ahead, but
Maybe some video demonstrations on actual running the software again. I know we covered it when we were all together, and over time it's kind of going to go out of our brains a little bit. I know for me personally, I have it, and there's still a few things where I'm not perfect at running it with, so maybe some video demonstrations about running the actual software.
Okay. So on that note, Green Planet Energy Analytics, they are early in the new year going to have some YouTube videos of just simple how-to videos that you can access by YouTube. And then also have just some starter documents that will be like screenshots and step-by-step of, how you log in and that sort of thing. So they are going to be developing those for you guys. So
That's great.
Yeah, hopefully that will help. And of course, Brad, if you do want extra training, you can always contact them as well, and they'll be happy to set that up for you.
Thank you.
Yeah.
And Brad, if you've got specifics on what you'd like to see, send that off to Jason, because they're developing these how-tos and these videos, so that would be helpful.
Okay.
You can sort of prioritize what what's going to be needed. So since you've got the technology installed, you've kind of got a leg up and can provide some of that feedback.
All right. Well, we'll be in contact with him.
Okay.
Yeah, those videos would be a great idea because I had to create my own, and then they changed the system on me, and then I had to recreate all of it. One thing I don't know how it would be possible, but one thing I found when I helped other teachers use the lab was things that worked and things that didn't work, or things to think about before you go in, things you need to plan out, just little tidbits of hints of what could go well, what could go wrong. I don't know what the best way to share that would be, because I see lots of great lessons, but I could see if I had a couple of hints about how to plan it a little bit better, my lesson could go smoother.
Oh, okay. So kind of right in the learning activity, you mean?
Yeah, or just as teachers try it, they can just give you feedback about, oh, okay, I did this, that didn't work, but this worked really well as a backup. And you can go back in and either share that or modify the lesson.
Yeah. All right. And
we've had a little bit of, to jump in, we have had a little bit of discussion about how we could create a comment section or forum or discussion forum.
Mm-hmm.
So I think that is an area that we'd love to include, so that once the activity is done, it gives everyone a chance to contribute. But on top of that, I think your comment about a little tips and hints and tips section is always really helpful before you start an activity, right? Especially based on other people's experiences. So I think that's a great idea.
Mm-hmm. Well, thank you for that. All right, the last question is just what else do you need to help you get started with the learning activities? Again, other than the technology being installed. Is there anything else, any other support that we could give you guys? Is there anything else that we could put together for you? Because that's what we're here for, so. No? Okay, well, if you think of anything, if there is anything that we could do, please let us know, because like I said, that's what we're here for. So overall, do you guys feel like we're on the right track with the guides and the learning activities? Yeah, I see a couple heads nodding. Okay. Okay, great. Well, if you do have any ideas or anything like that, again, these are draft and we're looking to you because you're going to be on the ground floor using them. So please give your feedback at any time. All right, so now we just have a few program updates. I'm going to go back to sharing my screen again. So 1 second. All right, so if I can move this bar, there we go. All right, so we had these complimentary guides. These were part of the October workshop. I didn't want to send you 4 different guides before this webinar because then I figured nobody would show up. But I have put these together in the new form. So these are, I think, Claudia, what you were saying, sort of broken up into the different guides. So there are 3 of them. There's a grade 4 to 6, a 7 to 9, and then a 10 to 12. So we will be providing you with these. And again, these are really, I believe that, you know, this energy metering technology will spark a lot of different conversations. And we want to make it easy for you to have those conversations and do more learning activities about the different things that your students are interested in. So I've put together a list of topics and the page numbers. Again, they're all hyperlinked and stuff so that it's easy for you just to find more information. These are all green learning activities. So if you haven't visited our website, then these are all there. And then there are additional resources because there's lots of great energy learning activities out there. So for example, okay, my student's interested in renewable energy, same thing, you can click on it and it shows you the curriculum links and then the links to that actual learning activity. And so again, we just want to make it easy and support you guys in that way. So these will be available to you. And these are the additional resources here. So you can see, again, there's a ton of them, the Inside Education and the care packages and that sort of thing. So again, we want to take the workload off of you and just have everything ready there for you. So there's that. Also, too, I wanted to make sure, Susan and I put together this Google Drive folder. So we wanted to have a repository place where we're putting all the information that we send to you. We'll probably still send you attachments and that sort of thing, but we also wanted to have a one-stop shop for you to look for it. So this was sent back in November, October even, but just wanted to make sure if you don't think you have access to it, or if you don't, if you know for sure that you don't have access to it, please let Susan or I know, and we'll make sure that you have access to it. If there are some restrictions because of the board or something like that, and Google Drive isn't going to work for you, then please let us know. Is there anybody that knows for sure that they won't be able to access a Google Drive?
No, I'm just wondering if I'd be able to get, if I can share it, or if I could just ask you to share it with some other teachers.
Yeah, for sure. I think that's a great idea.
Do I have the power to share it or not yet?
Try, Jocelyn, and see. I think because we set it up as a My Drive, you may be able to create a shareable link. So try that and see. And then if it doesn't work, let Christina or I know the teachers' names, and then we'll get that to them.
Okay, very good.
So again, we want to have this for everybody to use. You'll see that there's workshop pictures and installation pictures and that sort of thing. So we really want to encourage you as well to add pictures if you're doing the learning activities and you're, you know, catch you in action and you can just upload it here. Or if there's some learning activities or that sort of thing, some tables that you put together, anything like that, we would love it and encourage you to share that here, because it would be great to learn from each other, because that's what we're here for. And yeah, certainly if there are other teachers, please let us know, because the more teachers, the better. Does anybody have any questions about that?
So does everyone have access to Google Drive then?
I don't. I just checked. Sean seems to, but oh, sorry, I don't have it shared with me. That's what I meant. But Sean seems to, so I don't know what was missed.
Okay, so I'll just maybe reshare it with you, see if that works.
Thank you.
Okay, no problem.
Anybody else? Okay, so I will put the complimentary guides there, and the new, the new learning activity guide is in December webinar materials, but I'll probably just put a new folder. I'll just call it December Learning Guide, so that it's all in there for you to use. So look for that. I've set up a SurveyMonkey survey based on just the 8 questions that we went through today. I just want to make sure that you have the chance, if you think of something afterwards that you want to include, or for those that aren't able to join us today, that they have the opportunity to provide their feedback. So I'll send out the link for that. I'm going to set the deadline for midnight on Sunday. I don't really anticipate anybody to do it, you know, the second weekend before the holiday break, but I'll do that. And then certainly, like I said, if you ever have any feedback on anything, we would appreciate your feedback on that. This is also being recorded, so for anybody that wasn't able to attend, or if you want to watch it again, then we'll have that available as well. So I'll send out the information to view that. So lastly, the only thing that we wanted to talk about, I'll stop sharing my screen, was just wanted to get your feedback on the next webinar date and time. So we were thinking like the week of the January 28th or February 5th. We are anticipating that the installations will be done sort of mid-January, but I know that there are exams in there. So just wanted to get your feedback about sort of what you guys thought about possible, just broad dates about a next webinar.
And I guess just to add to that, the purpose of the next webinar would really be to get your feedback on the learning activities. So the assumption would be the technology would be installed in your school and you would have had a chance to try out a couple of the activities with your students and then provide some feedback. So that's why we want to meet with you.
Okay,
so thinking about that.
Oh, for my classroom, I won't be able to actually test anything until middle of February because I get brand new students at the beginning of February and we have to do safety first.
Right, that makes sense.
Okay, so that's good to know, Kristen. Thank you.
Oh, sorry. It may be the beginning of March would be more realistic.
Okay.
We were just discussing that March would probably be the good time as well. January is just super busy, and yeah.
Yeah, I agree. Later on, if you want specific details on the lessons, then it should wait a little longer.
Okay.
Yeah, March is better. I won't be personally having to use it in my courses this semester coming up starting in February, but I have lots of teachers here who would. So it'll give me time to work with them and get them to actually try it.
Okay.
say March will be better. Take some time. I mean, technology is going to be installed in January, then it's going to take some time until, you know, we see the technology, we play around.
Mm-hmm.
So yeah, I think March will be more realistic for sure.
Is there value of having an earlier webinar just to see how you guys, not maybe to get your feedback on it, but just to see how you're doing with the technology, how you're feeling, you know, maybe even just beginning steps about the learning guide, that sort of thing? I'm just wondering, I guess, too, because we're anticipating to have some sort of like a spring energy challenge. And so I would like you guys to obviously participate in that. And I'm just thinking in March, if I'm going to have, I mean, I can send you emails and that sort of thing, but get to just touch base about what that is going to look like and that sort of thing.
So can you just tell us the process? Who's going to be our first reach? Who do we reach out to first if we need to ask some questions once it is installed? Just
Jocelyn. Yeah, for you, that'll be Jason King.
Okay.
Because he's the one that, he's with Green Planet Energy Analytics, so he'll be your first point of contact, but it, you know, for Johnny up in Fort McMurray, it'll be Megan, so it kind of depends where you're located geographically, but once you get the technology installed, either Jason or Megan will send you an email outlining, like, here's how we can support you, here are the next steps. But that's a great question.
So it's Jason or Megan?
Yeah, for you, yeah, primarily Jason. Could be either, but yeah, your go-to will be Jason, yeah.
So on a day-to-day basis, that's a bit more what we need is, you know, somebody to call if it's something.
In terms of like, how do you use the software? Like, it's not, yeah.
All right, and just in reference to time, is this a good time for you guys? Like 3:45 to 5?
Our school ends at 2:30, so
I
it's really
know.
better for us, but I know that other schools end later, so I'll appreciate it.
I know. I went through everybody's websites and I saw when everybody was ending, and I'm like, oh, Alberta Lake ends at 2:30. And I remember when we went to see your walkthrough, you arrived right at 2:30. The day before the workshop and saw everybody leaving. So I appreciate you staying late tonight. Well, everybody's staying late, but you guys especially. I think it's a little bit easier than trying to coordinate lunch breaks and things like that. All right. Well, look at that. We even ended like 5 minutes early. That's fantastic. Does anybody have anything else that they'd like to share? Any questions, comments, concerns, jokes? All right. Well, if not, then thank you once again for joining us. Wish you all the best for the holiday season. Well deserved to teachers. And yeah, we'll be in touch. So look for the updates. Again, we'll have that Google Drive. We'll send you the SurveyMonkey link if you want to add any more feedback. And thanks again for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Guys.
Thank you very much, everyone.
Thank
Take
you.
care. Bye.
Bye.